Have you ever wondered why it's so difficult to start something we know is important? Why do we procrastinate when it comes to challenging tasks, even though we know they could change our lives for the better? The truth is that our brains are programmed to seek comfort and avoid discomfort at all costs. But what if I told you that it was possible to reprogram your mind to become addicted to doing difficult things? The ability to face challenges is not just a question of willpower, but of understanding how your brain works and using it to your advantage. Studies show that people who regularly expose themselves to difficult challenges release more dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of pleasure and reward. And that means you can learn to enjoy what today seems impossible. In today's video, we'll explore the science behind effort, how to train your mind to feel motivated by the difficult, and most importantly, how to turn challenges into a natural and even pleasurable part of your life. If you've ever tried to change habits and failed, stick around until the end because we're going to reveal practical strategies that really work. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now let's dive into the first point. Why do we avoid challenges? Our brain is an incredible survival machine. It has evolved to protect us from danger and ensure that we conserve energy whenever possible. This explains why, when faced with difficult tasks, we feel an almost automatic resistance. Our natural instinct is to take the easy way out, even when we know that the hard way will bring us more benefits in the long run. This behavior has deep roots in our biology. The human brain, especially the limbic system, responsible for emotions and impulses, prioritizes immediate pleasure and avoids situations that could generate stress or discomfort. When we face something challenging, such as starting a new project or adopting a healthy habit, our brain perceives it as a threat and tries to divert us to more comfortable activities, such as scrolling through social media feeds or postponing important decisions. The comfort paradox. We live in an age where comfort is at our fingertips all the time. Fast food, entertainment on demand, technology that makes everything easier. While this sounds positive, it actually creates a mental trap. The more we avoid discomfort, the harder it becomes to face it in the future. This leads to a vicious cycle of procrastination and frustration. The invisible cost of avoiding the difficult. In the short term, avoiding challenges may seem harmless, but in the long term, the effects are devastating. Loss of self-confidence. Every time we avoid a challenge, we reinforce the belief that we are unable to face it. Personal and professional stagnation. Growth only happens outside the comfort zone, and avoiding challenges keeps us stuck in mediocrity. Increased stress and anxiety. Contrary to appearances, avoiding the difficult doesn't reduce stress. It builds up and comes back with greater force. The illusion of perfect motivation. Many people believe that they will only be able to face challenges when they are motivated enough. However, motivation is volatile and based on fleeting emotions. The secret is not to wait for the right moment, but to start, even when you don't feel like it. The habit of taking action overcomes temporary motivation. Now that we understand why we avoid challenges, let's explore how the brain can be reprogrammed to turn discomfort into pleasure. To understand how we can become addicted to doing difficult things, we first need to understand how our brain interprets pleasure and pain. Most people associate pleasure with immediate rewards, such as eating something tasty or relaxing after a long day. But what few people know is that the brain can also associate pleasure with effort and discomfort, provided it is trained in the right way. The role of dopamine in motivation. Dopamine is an essential neurotransmitter that regulates motivation and feelings of pleasure. When we do something pleasurable, such as watching a movie or receiving compliments, the brain releases dopamine, creating a feeling of reward. The problem is that we seek this sensation in easy, instant gratification activities, which ends up making us hostage to the shortest route. But here's the key. Dopamine is also released during effort, especially when we see progress. This is why successful athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs often become addicted to the process of overcoming, because they have learned to associate effort with achievement and reward. The instant gratification trap. These days, we are constantly exposed to quick and easy stimuli, social media, short videos, notifications. This trains our brains to expect effortless rewards, undermining our ability to deal with prolonged challenges. The more we rely on these small doses of immediate pleasure, the less willing we are to tackle long and difficult tasks. How to reprogram the brain to enjoy the difficult. The good news is that it is possible to teach your brain to release dopamine not only with easy rewards, but also when facing challenges. Here are some scientifically proven strategies. Appreciate the progress, not just the result. Small victories along the way release dopamine and make the process more engaging. Celebrate each step completed, no matter how small. Associate challenges with rewards. Train your brain to expect something positive after each difficult task. For example, allow yourself to watch an episode of your favorite series only after completing a complicated task. Reframe the effort mentally. Instead of thinking this is difficult and tiring, try replacing it with this is making me stronger and more prepared. Changes in internal language alter the perception of difficulty. Create peaks of effort and recovery. Just as in physical training, alternating periods of intense effort with short breaks creates a sense of continuous progress without mental exhaustion. By applying these strategies, you'll start to notice that challenging tasks become less intimidating and even enjoyable, and how the psychology of habits can be the key to making the difficult a natural part of your routine. What separates people who face challenges naturally from those who avoid discomfort at all costs? The answer lies in habits. Everything we do repeatedly shapes who we are, and that includes our relationship with difficulties. When we make the difficult a habit, it stops being an obstacle and becomes part of our identity. How habits are formed in the brain. Our brains work on the basis of automatic patterns that save energy and make life more efficient. These patterns are known as habit circuits, made up of three elements. Trigger, the stimulus that initiates the behavior, e.g., opening your phone when you hear a notification. Routine, the action itself, e.g., checking social media. Reward, the pleasure obtained, e.g., dopamine from seeing likes and comments. The key to getting hooked on doing difficult things is to replace unproductive routines with habits that challenge you in a positive way. Best of all, over time, what once seemed difficult will become automatic and even pleasurable. Small daily challenges to build mental stamina. Mental toughness doesn't come overnight, but rather from small, consistent actions. Here are some practices that help train your mind to face the difficult. Choose intentional discomforts. Take small actions outside your comfort zone every day, such as taking a cold shower, waking up earlier, or starting a difficult conversation. The 1% daily technique. Instead of attempting big changes all at once, improve just 1% each day. Small cumulative improvements generate incredible results in the long term. Replace excuses with small commitments. When you feel like putting off a difficult task, tell yourself, I'll just do it for 5 minutes. Often, getting started is the hardest part, and once you've started, you'll keep going. The power of repetition and consistency. Repetition breeds familiarity, and familiarity reduces the feeling of difficulty. By repeating challenging tasks regularly, your brain stops seeing them as threats and starts treating them as part of the routine. The key is consistency, not initial intensity. Creating an effective reward system. It's not enough just to face challenges. You need to reward your effort intelligently in order to reinforce the behavior. Some effective strategies include symbolic self-rewards. After completing a difficult task, allow yourself a small treat, such as a special coffee or some leisure time. Progress tracking. Keeping a diary or app to visualize your progress creates extra motivation. Social reward. Sharing your achievements with friends or mentors increases your sense of responsibility and recognition. If you apply these techniques and create a positive relationship with discomfort, you'll find that mental toughness will become your new normal. Often, what really prevents us from facing challenges is not a lack of ability, but the limiting beliefs we've carried since childhood. Phrases like, I'm not good at this is too difficult for me, or I wasn't born for this, create mental barriers that keep us stuck in our comfort zone. These beliefs, when left unchallenged, become absolute truths in our minds, holding us back from progress. Where do these beliefs come from? Most of our beliefs about effort and difficulty are formed by past experiences, family, and cultural influences. If during childhood we were discouraged when facing difficulties, or were praised only for innate talent and not for effort, it is likely that today we see failure as something to be avoided at all costs. In addition, modern society reinforces the idea that success should be quick and effortless. This mentality creates a toxic relationship with hard work, leading many to give up before even trying. Common myths about effort and suffering. If it's hard, then it's not for me. This is one of the most damaging beliefs. The truth is that anything worthwhile requires effort, and initial difficulty is just a sign of learning, not inability. Successful people were born talented. Talent can help, but the real difference lies in hard work and deliberate practice. Studies show that conscious repetition overcomes natural talent in the long term. If I fail, it means I'm not good enough. Failure is not the opposite of success, but part of it. Every mistake offers an opportunity to learn and adjust. High performers fail more simply because they try harder. Reframe challenges as opportunities for growth. A powerful way to overcome limiting beliefs is to change the way we interpret effort. Instead of seeing the difficult as a problem, look at it as mental training, an opportunity for personal and professional growth. Practical example: imagine that you need to learn a new skill such as public speaking. Instead of thinking, "That's not for me," try changing your mindset to, "Every presentation I give is a chance to improve. The discomfort I feel now means I'm pushing my boundaries." Examples of people who have turned the difficult into routine-inspiring stories show that changing your mindset about the difficult can transform lives. Here are some examples. Michael Jordan, considered one of the greatest basketball players in history, was rejected from his school team, but used this as fuel to train even harder. J.K. Rowling, author of Harry Potter, received multiple rejections before her work became a worldwide success. David Goggins, a former US Marine, went from obese to ultramarathon runner by training his mind to love discomfort. These people weren't born loving challenges, but they reprogrammed their beliefs to see difficulties as stepping stones to success. One of the biggest obstacles to facing difficult challenges is the feeling of mental overload. When we look at a complex task, such as changing careers, adopting a new healthy habit, or learning a skill, our mind tends to see the total effort required and procrastination ensues. This is where micro-commitments come in, small actions that make the difficult more accessible. The power of breaking down big challenges into small actions. Our brains cope best with simple, short-term tasks. By breaking down a big goal into small steps, we can reduce mental resistance. Smaller tasks seem easier to start, reducing anxiety. Create a sense of constant progress. Each small victory releases dopamine and motivates us to keep going. Avoid analysis paralysis. By focusing on the next step rather than the end goal, we eliminate indecision. Practical example: if you want to start running 5 kilometers, instead of thinking about the whole race, start with a 5-minute walk today. Tomorrow, increase it to 10 minutes. Small steps build big results. The 2-minute technique for cheating procrastination. A simple but extremely effective strategy is the 2-minute principle, popularized by author James Clear in the book Atomic Habits. The idea is that you should commit to doing a task for just 2 minutes. For example, want to write a book? Write for 2 minutes. Need to exercise? Do a quick stretch for 2 minutes. Often, the simple act of starting eliminates inertia, and the natural effort lasts longer than expected. Small habits that build resilience effortlessly. Creating micro-commitments isn't just about making things easier, it's about creating a solid foundation for facing bigger challenges in the future. Some small but powerful habits include making the bed every morning. This teaches discipline and control over small actions. Writing down 3 things you will do that day creates clarity and focus. Doing something uncomfortable every day, like taking a cold shower or speaking in public in small doses, These small actions generate a cumulative effect that strengthens your mental resilience. How to maintain progress without getting discouraged. Over time, initial enthusiasm can wane, and that's when many people give up. To avoid this, apply the following strategies. Track your small progress. Keeping a diary or using tracking apps helps you visualize your growth. Create immediate rewards. After completing a difficult task, allow yourself a small pleasure, such as a moment of leisure. Have an accountability buddy. Sharing your commitments with someone creates a sense of external commitment. By adopting micro-commitments as a daily strategy, you'll notice that what seemed impossible will become natural and even pleasurable. If there's one universal truth about personal growth, it's this: no real progress happens in the comfort zone. However, most people see discomfort as something to be avoided, when in reality it is a powerful tool for developing mental, emotional, and even physical strength. The difference between those who grow and those who stagnate lies in the ability to embrace discomfort as an ally, not an enemy. The concept of antifragility in practice. The author, Nassim Taleb, introduced the concept of antifragility, which refers to a system's ability to strengthen itself under stress and pressure. Unlike resilience, which is the ability to resist, antifragility goes further. It turns challenges into advantages. Think of your body. When you lift weights in the gym, your muscles suffer micro-injuries but recover stronger. The same happens with your mind. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the stronger you become. How to turn failure into continuous learning. One of the biggest reasons we avoid difficult challenges is the fear of failure. But what if we started to see failure not as an end, but as an essential part of the process? Great leaders and successful athletes see every mistake as an opportunity to adjust and grow. Here are some ways to use failures to your advantage. Record your failures. Write down what went wrong and what you can learn from it. Adopt the experiment mentality. Treat challenges as tests, not as definitive passages to success or failure. Reflect on progress, not perfection. The focus should be on continuous improvement, not immediate results. Developing emotional and mental resilience. To endure and even thrive in the midst of discomfort, it is essential to develop emotional resilience. Here are some practices to strengthen your mind in the face of challenges. The controlled exposure technique. Intentionally expose yourself to uncomfortable situations in small doses, such as public speaking, to smaller groups before facing large audiences. Cognitive reframing. Instead of thinking this is too hard, switch to this is helping me grow. Small changes in perspective make a big difference. Breathing and stress management. Techniques such as deep breathing and mindfulness help deal with anxiety in times of pressure. Stories of overcoming discomfort. Many real-life examples show how embracing discomfort leads to extraordinary results. People like Elon Musk, who faced bankruptcy and criticism before becoming one of the world's most influential entrepreneurs, or athletes who endure years of intense training before reaching the top. These stories show us that discomfort is not a sign to give up, but an indication that we are on the right track. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to be motivated while others constantly struggle with procrastination? The difference often lies not in individual willpower, but in their environment and the people they live with. The environment in which we live has a direct impact on our habits, behaviors, and even our perception of what is difficult or easy. How the environment influences your mentality. Our brains are highly influenced by external stimuli. Studies in behavioral psychology show that we are more likely to act in accordance with the environment around us than with our internal intentions. For example, if you live with disciplined and hard-working people, you are much more likely to adopt these behaviors naturally. On the other hand, if your environment is full of distractions, disorganization, and negativity, facing challenges becomes even more difficult. Your environment can be your ally or your biggest obstacle. Strategies for creating a challenging environment. If you want to get hooked on doing difficult things, you need to prepare your environment to work in your favor. Here are some practical tips to make this possible. Remove distractions and temptations. If your goal is to work with more focus, eliminate visual and digital distractions, such as notifications on your cell phone or social networks open on your computer. Surround yourself with motivational reminders. Small changes, such as inspirational phrases, goal boards, and even visible rewards, help keep you focused on the challenges. Create an environment that inspires action. If you want to read more, leave books in sight. If you want to exercise, keep your workout clothes accessible. Make difficult habits easy. The impact of the people around you. The people you spend the most time with have a huge influence on your mindset and habits. There's a famous saying, "You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most." If you want to become someone who faces challenges naturally, it's essential to surround yourself with people who value effort, discipline, and personal growth. Here are some actions that can help. Avoid negative people. Individuals who always complain and avoid challenges can undermine your energy and motivation. Seek out mentors and inspiring groups. Join communities that share your ambitions and encourage you to grow. Share your goals with people who support you. Having someone to be accountable to increases discipline and motivation. The influence of the digital environment. In addition to the physical people around you, the digital environment you consume also shapes your mindset. If you spend hours consuming content that promotes easy and immediate solutions, your mind will be conditioned to avoid the difficult. Practical tips. Follow people and pages that share inspiring and educational content. Reduce your time on social networks that offer worthless distractions. Use technology to your advantage with productivity and motivation apps. Creating an environment conducive to growth doesn't happen overnight, but small changes can have a powerful impact on your journey. The idea that we can become addicted to doing difficult things may seem strange at first glance, but the truth is that the human brain loves challenges as long as they are approached in the right way. The secret lies in turning the effort into a rewarding experience, creating a positive addiction cycle where each achievement generates motivation for the next. The science behind the pleasure of progress. When we face challenges and make progress, our brain releases dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter of motivation and reward. This mechanism works like positive reinforcement, so the more you challenge yourself and overcome obstacles, the more pleasure you feel in continuing. The problem is that many people expect to feel pleasure before they act, when in fact the pleasure comes from progress, not from the initial desire. The key to positive addiction is to create small victories that encourage the habit to continue. How to establish a gaming mentality for challenges. An effective way to make difficult challenges more enjoyable is to see them as a personal game, where each obstacle is a stage to be overcome. This makes the process lighter and more engaging. Some strategies include set clear and achievable goals, turn big challenges into smaller milestones as if they were levels in a game, create rewards for each advance. Just like in a game, have small rewards for each stage you beat, such as a rest day or something you enjoy. Record and track your progress. Use apps, diaries, or graphs to visualize your achievements and keep your motivation high. The reward of continuous progress. The feeling of constant progress is one of the main factors that keep us motivated. Even if the progress is small, the simple fact of seeing improvements generates a positive boost. Practical tips for maintaining the cycle of progress. Practice better than yesterday. Every day, try to improve a little, even if it's just 1%. Avoid comparisons with others. Focus on your own growth and celebrate each individual advance. Maintain consistency over intensity. It's better to progress little by little than to try to make too big leaps and get frustrated. How to sustain the habit in the long term. To turn the difficult into something pleasurable, it's essential to make the practice a lifestyle, not just a temporary goal. Here are some ways to ensure the longevity of the habit. Vary the challenges. Try new ways of tackling difficulties to maintain interest and avoid boredom. Reflect on your growth regularly. Take time to look back and realize how much you've evolved since the beginning. Have a clear purpose. Constantly remind yourself of the why behind your challenges. Having a strong purpose helps you stay focused. When you learn to find pleasure in the effort, challenges stop being obstacles and become the natural path to your growth. Throughout this video, you have learned that difficulty is not your enemy, but your greatest ally in personal growth. Avoiding challenges may seem comfortable in the short term, but real progress comes from facing discomfort intentionally and consistently. To recap, here are the main points that you can apply immediately in your life. Understand why we avoid challenges. Our brain seeks the easy way out, but we can reprogram it to see effort as something positive. Use neuroscience to your advantage. Turn effort into pleasure by releasing dopamine through constant progress. Build powerful habits. Start small, create micro-commitments, and be consistent. Deconstruct limiting beliefs. Replace negative thoughts with a growth mindset. Divide big goals into small actions. Avoid overload and focus on simple, progressive steps. See discomfort as a growth tool. Face challenges gradually to build antifragility. Create an environment that fosters success. Surround yourself with people and stimuli that encourage effort. Turn challenges into something enjoyable. Treat your goals like a game and celebrate each advance. Remember, real pleasure comes from progress, not perfection. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Take the first step today, however small, and you'll soon find that the difficult becomes natural. Now we want to hear from you. What difficult challenge are you ready to take on? Leave your comment below and share your experience. And if this video has helped you in any way, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive more content like this. See you in the next video.